I don't wanna talk.
This is a long form video and most of you are probably going to get bored, and I get it. Let me just start off by saying I've been working on a project for 35 years to earn the Nobel Peace Prize through a single book. It's now going to be a series of 7, and it may end up being 8 by the time I'm done. I vowed to myself to work on this project when I was a homeless kid on the streets of San Francisco while all my classmates were graduating their senior year. Just a quick note, this 16-minute video here is sort of what my work has blown into. The visual image videos and Peapod centers, the spirit of the machine, safe space, yeah. Anyhow, so the task was me to understand the world so that I knew how to talk to the world, which is kind of weird when I think about it. Because I was encouraged by a lot of people that said, you see the world differently than this. You should write a book. It wasn't until I was in my 50s that I realized what it was about me that made it so different. But here I was trying to understand the world in all of its parts, top to bottom, just craziest stuff. I've picked up a lot of pieces along this 35-year timeline, but the last 5 or 6 years kind of wrecked me a little bit. I understand things about the world that most people don't. Now, I'm going to kind of push this information aside. I'm going to kind of talk about what's going on with MAGA in particular, because the Republican Party have the groupers, the KKK, they have the alt-right, they have MAGA, and then they have, your Reagan Republicans. Probably missed one in there too. But the Republican Party has quite a few different people. I'm particularly, for the most part, talking to MAGA. Now, you guys, girls, people are all in on Trump. Now, a lot of you are you're coming to a different opinion about the situation. I want to step a little bit farther back. I want to kind of pull back the information of my work now. So, when I say top to bottom, study of the world so I knew how to talk to you. Oh, I have a lot of interests. And it's important to have a lot of interests so that you can pull information and pieces from a lot of sources and then start to draw your own understanding. It's important. So, I'm going to talk about the sort of science of your mind. The synapse is a little tiny space in between one cell in your brain and the other cell. Now, I'm probably butchering this journey of definition and understanding quite a bit, but you'll understand. So let's just pretend they're like little long pieces, like little tiny hot dogs, all lined up in a line. Of course, they're in your brain and all looks like the spaghetti bowl as we refer to the interstate system in Minneapolis. Just going all different kinds of ways. But they're all little hot dogs lined up in a row. And each one of those hot dogs, there's a little space in between that, and that's your synapse. On one end of that hot dog, it pushes signals. And then it crosses the synapse, little blank space. And on the first end of that hot dog, that's the receiver. So it receives dopamine, serotonin, all these sort of chemicals that make your brain function. So one end of the hot dog pushes, there's a little blank space, and then there's another part that receives, and they just just shooting along this little hot dog train that's all over in your brain, okay? When you're presented with information that goes against everything that you've been taught, that you understand, that you've and been indoctrinated to think. Your biases, all of the things that you've sort of built your life on, when somebody tries to bring you other information, it's like pouring battery acid into this hot dog and synapse ravioli mix that's going on in your brain, and it just creates a whole bunch of havoc. And your brain says, nope, I don't want to know. I don't want to know, because my brain is going all kinds of jittery. That's what's happening. That's what's happening to a lot of people. And just a safety mechanism, they just say, not today, Satan. And they go on about their day as it's always gone every day before that. And every time they're like, oh, I'm not going to listen to that. And even when they just ponder it just for a second, they pour a little bit more acid into that spaghetti bowl of synapses and little hot dogs, and their brain just, So, there's another way of saying it. It's still within that spaghetti bowl of hot dogs and synapses and battery acid mix. There's also the part in your inside of you that says, I'm scared. Because everything, now again, we're still talking about your brain the brain is starting to process that there's some crazy shit going on. Your brain's starting to process it, and they're like, wow, if I can clean all this battery acid out and I can start to sort through this, my identity that I've built myself on, my indoctrinated self, whether it's intentional, you went down that rabbit hole yourself, you chose your path along nurture versus nature. You know, when you tell yourself, your heart's going to start racing, and you're going to start having a whole sort of body sort of reaction to what's happening. Because inside, deep within this mess, because now your whole body is starting to just blah, blah, blah. But inside there, something deep inside of you says, I'm scared. I'm scared. Because I know if I journey on this, because oh no, those Democrats are stupid. They're dumb. Them Democrats are just dumb. No, they're getting loud now. Because remember, your body's reacting. You're having hot flashes. Your heart's racing. Your mind just got acid pouring in it, and you're like, what the fuck, motherfucker? And it's easier to just say, them Democrats, they don't know what they're talking about. Or, oh, you heard that on Fox News? Or you heard that on CNN? Oh, you got your information on TikTok? They're dismissive. They're trying to protect themselves. There's something inside of them is scared. They're scared. And you know why they're scared? Do you know why they're scared? And the older you get, and the more down in the rabbit hole, and the more proud you are of where you're at, that part inside of you that says, if I have to go through this, I'm not going to be the same person, and I'm scared because I don't know what's on the other side of me. I don't know. And when you put in that religious deconstruction, I call it the grieving process with a few extra steps, and there's one real dangerous one in there. And you don't just start religious deconstruction and say it to somebody in a TikTok, because you have to do it with honor and respect. And that's what I'm working on in a series of 7 books, to make sure that you don't have hot flashes in your bodies and your heart's going and your mind feels like acid's dumping in and your brain's just going all high-wired. I'm going to be gentle with you. I'm going to be as most gentle as I can.